And away we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. What's shaking? How in the world are you? Great to be back with you one more time again. My name is Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, back in the network studio, pushing the buttons, switching the switches, levering the levers, pulling the pulleys, turning the gears, doing all the things necessary to get us on the air and sounding as great as we do every day. Zoe, what's up, big dog? You like that? Wah, 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 wah. I have had that happen so far, Lonzo. I've had that happen twice in very inopportune situations, which is the only reason I am going to have to eventually change it, but I just can't bring myself to do it yet. I guess, so this is the new phone, and I just got the new ringer put on it, and you'll, I don't know, love and or find this hilarious. About 2-3 weeks ago, right after I got the phone, I was sitting one night with the lady friend, and we were scrolling through phones. I was scrolling through, and I play that one, and I'm like, she's like, no. I said, are you kidding me? This is the greatest text sounder of all time. Well, about 2 days later, I was sitting at a local watering hole watching sports with a buddy from one of the local teams, and we were having this conversation, and it turned to pets for whatever reason, and it turned to dogs. And so this guy, he looks at me and he goes, yeah, man. He goes, I had a dog for about 16 years, and I had to put him down. About 5 days ago. Wah, 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 wah. Lonzo was absolutely mortified. Just like that. Right now. It was, all right, I'm turning that off so it doesn't happen again. The second one happened in a very painfully, somehow worse situation. About 4 days after that, you'd think I'd learned my lesson, but I was out again watching a Braves game with a 3 or 4 people, and we started talking about relatives and all that. And another one, this time, this one was painfully worse because this was a young lady that was with the group, and she's maybe in her mid-20s or so. And we got to talking about, somebody had asked me about, is this the furthest you've ever lived from your family? And I said, yeah, it's the furthest I've ever lived from my family. You know, I'm 7.5 hours away from them or so. Furthest I've ever been away. It's kind of weird because I'm very close to my family. So when I lived in Florida, even when I lived 4 or 5 hours away from them, you know, I'd go home every 3 or 4 weekends and spend the weekend. But when I'm 7.5 hours away from them, that's not really an option, unfortunately. So, you know, I get to see them once every 2-3 months. They'll come up here, or I'll go up there. But anyway, she said, yeah, she was from somewhere up in the Northeast, like Connecticut or something. And she said the hardest part, she said she lives about 12 hours from home. And she said about 3-4 months ago, one of my aunts passed away, and I couldn't make it back for the funeral. Wah, 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 wah. Lonzo, I have never been so mortified in my life as that moment. Still haven't done it. There is a masochistic side of me that wants to leave it just to see if I can make it even more ill-timed than that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm waiting for the moment that somebody has to take a traumatic phone call while we're sitting together, and they like set the phone down with that blank 1,000-yard stare, and they're like, my this terrible thing just happened. Wah, 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 wah. It has happened twice, both times progressively worse than the last. Rob, you and I are done. I'm breaking up with you. I never want to see you again. Wah, 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 wah. At this point, I just want to see, pardon me, how awkward my text message ringer can. The other part is, now that some of the folks in my little, in my tiny little social circle know that that is the thing, Lonzo, I know me and I know you, and I wonder how long it's going to be before people sitting next to me just have a pre-typed one-letter text with the send button up ready to go, trying to time it out to where they can make the situation more awkward than it already is. Well, I just turned it on vibrate, so you missed your opportunity for today. The proverbial window has closed to make this show more awkward. But the good news for you, Lonzo, is as soon as the show's over, I put my phone right back on loud, and then I always forget to change it back to vibrate until the first text message goes off at the start of every day. So those of you that have my phone number, you now know that to the start of every show, you're just waiting for me to talk about something that is, emotionally serious and sad to be the first person who can make that ringer go off and make me sound terrible. So there you go. This is a sports talk radio show. Hashtag stick to sports. Let's do, Zoe, that little thing we do. I don't know if I mentioned our live stream's up. Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/The Rob Brown Show, Twitter.com/Lonzo on Word, or search The Rob Brown Show on the YouTubes. Click on the live button for today. You can watch Lonzo and I do the show from behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen. We make it just that easy for you. We want to be, well, not looking at you. We want you to look at us. We want you to watch us. Doesn't that sound creepy? Turn on the live stream and hang out with me and Zoe. We have conversations in the chat off the air. 2 days ago, Lonzo and I watched the trailer to Shang-Chi, the new Marvel movie that's coming out. We watched a video yesterday of a black bear chasing down a man on a bicycle. You never know what's going to happen in the live stream chat. It basically it takes the commercial breaks out of the show for you and gives you us being ridiculous off the air as well. So join us on the stream at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. Item number one. I don't intend, I will go ahead and let you know in advance, I don't intend to do a full segment on this. I don't intend to have deep, drastic conversation about this unless you, the caller, call in to talk about it. I did not put this on my show prep sheet other than a mention in the lunch breakdown because I do think it is a major part after what happened over the past 14 months in sports. I do think it is a major conversation to be had, but I don't plan on bringing it up during the show unless you guys as callers call in at 844-GSP-ESPN and bring it up. Yesterday, a jury in the state of Minnesota found Derek Chauvin guilty of all three charges brought against him in the George Floyd trial. Derek Chauvin was found guilty of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and manslaughter. He had his bail revoked and was remanded immediately into custody, where he will remain for the next 8 weeks until sentencing takes place. The story here is that the sports world responded in a big, big way yesterday, as I'm sure most of us assumed that it would. We had statements come out from many professional teams around the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, the NHL. We have professional golfers and tennis players weighing in, etc. We know that after the death of George Floyd last year, the sports world, that was kind of a catalyst, kind of a trigger to a lot of the protests that took place around the country last year. We saw many athletes getting very closely, directly involved with them. LeBron James, we know Karl Anthony Towns, for instance, just days after the death of his own mother, was standing behind the Floyd family when press conferences were taking place. We know there are athletes like Dwayne Wade that went out there. We played you here on the show at that point. Very emotional sound clips from guys like Ryan Howard, et cetera, et cetera. Well, yesterday, after the guilty verdict came down, we saw a lot of response from the world of sports. We're not going to get, again, not terribly deep into it. We did have a pretty big fire back at the Oakland Raiders. A tweet went up with a graphic image on it yesterday that said, "I can breathe for 2021. Obviously a reference to some of the final words of George Floyd, who repeatedly said, "I can't breathe," during the arrest that led to his death. Fans absolutely lit up the Oakland Raiders for a very tasteless tweet. Mark Davis yesterday came out and said that was my tweet. It was not the social media team. It was none of the guys on the squad. It was me. But I will not delete it, and I will not apologize. Perhaps it didn't have the significance I meant for it to have behind it, but it is what it is. A lot of response to that from the sports world yesterday. If you would like to address it, you're welcome to at 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. We move now to item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. This story, a little bit more positive. Zoe, you and I, remember we talked earlier in the week about the European Super League over in soccer. We had a big conversation. I said that the culture around soccer in Europe specifically is much different than it is in the NFL and the NBA and American sports. Every time we have a conversation where we feel like an owner of a team in America is doing something that is against the best interest of the fan, I asked Lonzo the same question. Lonzo, if you don't like this decision, where should you look to find out why it was made? That would be money. That is correct. 50 points to Lonzo. That would be money. Well, the owners of the Super League teams tried to do the same thing. They made a decision that was about money, but the culture in sports is dramatically different there, mainly because the fans don't allow it to be about the money. They allow it to be about the fans itself. Well, I told you, Lonzo, that there were thousands upon thousands upon thousands of fans who marched, in protest on their teams, like Atletico Madrid, like Chelsea, like Manchester City, Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, etc. And Lonzo said, hey man, when it comes down to it, the owners are about that cheddar, bruh, and there ain't going to be much that the fans can do about it. Lonzo, that turned out to be incorrect. Yesterday, Atletico Madrid, Inter Milan, Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspur, and Manchester United all announced that they have withdrawn from the European Super League that was proposed. On Sunday, 12 leading European sides confirmed the creation of the midweek breakaway tournament, but 3 days later, the majority of those founding clubs have decided to bail out. Atletico Madrid put out a statement that said, Atletico Madrid's administrative council met on Wednesday morning and has decided to formally communicate to the Super League and the rest of the founding members our decision to no longer form a part of the project. Atletico Madrid took the decision to withdraw from the project on Monday in response to circumstances, which means it is no longer possible for the club. It is essential that all members of the Rojiblanco family were in harmony, especially our fans, end quote. Lonzo, I got to tell you, man, I actually agreed with you on Monday when we talked about this. I actually agreed with you. I didn't think there was any way that this was going to work because at the end of the day, folks like Jay Glazer, who owned the Buccaneers and Manchester United, were more about that money than they were what the fans wanted. But after thousands upon thousands of fans started withdrawing season ticket commitments, started hanging banners saying RIP this franchise, 1800s to 2021, etc. 7 of the 12 took just 2 days, Lonzo, to withdraw from that Super League. So it's pretty incredible what fans can accomplish when they actually band together and demand change. Yes, I absolutely do. Well, I think that there were some other factors that were considered, right? UEFA said if you participate in the Super League, you will not participate in any UEFA competition. FIFA said if you participate in this league, you will not be allowed to participate in any other FIFA competitions. That included players within these teams, players on these sides, not being allowed to participate in the World Cup. And remember, our next World Cup is next year. There were a lot of players from a lot of countries who were on those 12 Premier League, La Liga, and Serie A teams that would have been barred from the World Cup. So I do think there was likely outside pressure, but Zoe, we had managers that were out there. I mean, talking like head coaches, like manager Jurgen Klopp being one of them of these 12 teams. The managers were going on mics. Could you imagine, though, what would happen in the NFL if Robert Kraft proposed an idea to the NFL's competition committee that he wanted to see change, and Bill Belichick got in front of a mic and said, I think this is a stupid decision. I think it's a terrible decision. I disagree with every part of it. I will be taking steps to fight back against it, etc. Could you imagine what would happen in the NFL if a head coach went to Roger Goodell and said that the owner of the team's decision was a stupid one? Because that's exactly what happened with the managers of about 7 of these super clubs who went in front of the media and said, the owners of the clubs have a terrible idea and I hate it. So I got to tell you, man, good luck firing back against that. Thank you, Lonzo. That makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Item number 3 on our lunch breakdown today, and this one we're going to mention very briefly because we're going to bring it back up in conversation in the next segment. Adam Schefter is reporting that the Carolina Panthers not only seem to be mulling a move down in the first round of the 2021 NFL Draft, but Peter King is now saying that the team has gotten some interest in a very, very hefty draft day. Panthers coach Matt Rule wanted to trade down in the first round of last year's draft. However, former GM Marty Herney was in love with Derek Brown and determined to pick him if he was there. Now Matt Rule looks like he wants to trade back down again today. And Shefty and Peter King are both reporting that those conversations are happening. Shefty tweeted out, Carolina Panthers have had conversations with other teams about potentially trading back in the draft from pick number 8 per a source. There are all sorts of ongoing trade conversations between teams. Let's see what next week brings. Moving down obviously means that the Panthers will likely not have access to one of this year's top quarterback prospects, which they might have at number 8, which shows that they have some faith in Sam Darnold. What will the Panthers get in return? Let's talk about that when we come back in the next segment of the show. My name is Rob Brown. Lonzo's at the helm. Join us in the live stream at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. Let's take a quick break. We're back after this. Rob, Lonzo, and you. This is ESPN Upstate.
real, unfiltered sports.
Lonzo. Check. Check. I am being told, Zoe, that...
yeah, I saw that. And
there you go. Okay, I got you now.
All right, cool.
I had to leave the wire.
All right, I'm going to the restroom.
Keegan, can you hear us both now? Roger, can you hear us both now?
I'm trying to go to the restroom. Let me go.
You can go, Lonzo. Rob, what watering hole do you like to go to? There's a few, Roger. I will tell you that right now. Yeehaw Brewery downtown is very heavy in the rotation for me. I am a big fan. I very much love Yeehaw Brewery. I think they've got a great setup, that giant outside TV screen. I watched the end of the Masters there. I have watched more baseball games there than I have in my own house at this point, I'm pretty sure. I really, really like Yeehaw Brewery. As a matter of fact, I watched most of the NFL playoff games there last year. Hall of Fame Sports Grill is right across the street from where I live, Roger. So I'm at Hall of Fame quite a bit. I really enjoy going there. Witchcraft Tap Room, I'm there once a week. Hoppin' downtown Greenville, big fan. They got a good beer selection there. So I like hopping downtown quite a bit. Where else do I hang out? If I'm in the mood for people watching, now, I haven't gone there very often. But Blind Horse Saloon, that's over off of that's off of Pleasantburg over by the airport. Blind Horse Saloon is easily the best people watching spot. Now, I don't go there often because that place gets packed out. So I'll go in there early with the boys and hang out for a little while before it gets crazy crowded. But yeah, I'd say those are probably the spots right now. I'm trying to think of where else I've been. What's it called? Sip downtown, the rooftop bar, the rooftop whiskey bar. Big fan of Sip. I don't know why. And this is one of those things that I very much love since I moved here. I had never really lived in a place that had a rooftop bar in a city before. I've had rooftop bars before that were like overlooking the beach, and that's great. I mean, I love it there. Down in Florida, I've had rooftop bars that set up over the beach, but I've never had like a downtown rooftop bar. And there are two or three. What is it? Ink and Ivy, Sip, and I want to say there's one more. There's one more down there. But Roger, those are my watering holes of choice. Appreciate the question, man. Anybody else got any questions? Whether it's about me, for Lonzo, about Lonzo, feel free to drop them in the chat. What's the shirt today, Zoe? Yes, Grogu.
That would be the wee baby Grogu.
Hey, the wee lad Grogu.
If we never see Grogu again, will The Mandalorian, if it does go forward, be successful?
Honestly, I mean, like, I think Grogu was the hook for a lot of people who maybe aren't Star Wars fans, right? Like, if you're not a Star Wars fan, you could still tune in because you enjoyed the child. But The Mandalorian, and the fact that they genre hopped, right? They did a Western episode, they did a noir episode. I appreciated that. So the versatility of that show while telling a great Star Wars story, the fact that you could have Mando interact with all these different Star Wars legends throughout the year. I mean, tell me you don't want an episode where Mando interacts with Mace Windu. How much money would I give for that? I don't know how much money you'd have to give Samuel Jackson, but I would give a lot of money for that.
Well, he's already in the Disney fold.
Yep.
So, elsewhere with Nick Fury, he's already on set filming somewhere. So, I mean, how hard could it be for him to jump over? But that would mean that Mace Windu is still alive.
No,
You're trying to think of.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Luke's grown up. That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
I got my timelines reversed.
Not only would he be alive, he would have been alive for a while.
Roger says that's a lot of watering holes. You must stay thirsty. First off, yes.
20 seconds.
That is correct. Second off, I like watching sports in public. Like, I know a lot of people.
844 GSP ESPN. Text keyword ESPN and your message to 71307. Get in the game on the Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. What? The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Rob and Lonzo and you be a part of the show at 844 GSP ESPN. 844-477-3776 is the number. My old co-host Adam McCloskey back down in Florida, who was my very first co-host when I broke into this industry, 14, 15 years ago. Adam just said, I'm going to send you a poster or something so it doesn't look like you're doing the show from my grandmother's couch every day. It's my couch. I decorate my. First off, these for. I don't think I pointed. If you're watching on the stream right now, you get. If you aren't watching on the stream, you're missing out. These three paintings, Lonzo, are paintings of the beaches down in Pensacola, Fort Walton Beach, Destin, where I grew up. It's just my
not according to Godzilla versus Kong. No, it's not.
God, so
doesn't look anything like that.
Well, first off, by the way, after watching the movie, I think we jumped to a conclusion when we watched the trailer. I think that those mountains that we saw in the background, I actually think that they were supposed to be buildings. Doesn't make it better. I think it was just such low light that it looked like they were mountains. I think they were actually buildings. But we never really got enough of the city for me to be like angry about it in the movie theaters.
I do want to applaud your ability to not bow to peer pressure, because since we started streaming, the grandma's couch, the grandma's house has been mentioned many times by many people from many states, apparently. And you're like, no, this is my house, and this is how I'm doing things, and I don't care if you like it. Good for you.
I like the beach. What do you want? It's one. I miss the beach, man. I love it here.
But still, I just want to point something out, though, that Rob wants to make sure that everything behind me looks a certain way.
Correct. I'm not worried about if Zoe's happy with the scenery. I'm worried about if I'm happy with the scenery, obviously. Carolina Panthers, according to Adam Schefter, looks like they are looking to trade back out of the number 8 spot in the draft and are looking for a haul of picks to make that happen. Zoe, whether they get what they want or not is solely going to depend on how the quarterback run looks. I mean, if you're Carolina, if you're going to trade back out, you better do it before day one, because if there is a run at QBs right at the front, as we all think that there will be, Trevor Lawrence going 1, Zach Wilson going 2, question mark going number 3. We will be interested to see what the Falcons do at number 4. If there is a QB run that takes Trey Lance and Mac Jones off the board before they get to number 6 or number 7, that Carolina pick will lose some value there if there are teams that are QB chasing. The only way that a QB run takes place and that pick remains as valuable as the Panthers view it as would be if a guy like a Kyle Pitts was to take a bit of a tumble, which, spoiler alert, he's not going to. That guy is the most sought-after weapon in this draft at a not quarterback position. So, Carolina would be wise to move now, try to convince a team that one of those QB5s will be available at number 8 in order to move. But, Zoe, I like that they are making this move. This is the move I thought they should have been looking at making for some time now. I think it is the correct decision to make this move. I think you're going to find more value when you add 3 or 4 more picks to the rotation, even if a few of those are next year. I think most of us are convinced that this year is, I don't want to call it a rebuilding year. I don't think it's a full rebuilding year, but I think, Zoe, this is a growth year for the Panthers. They'll be better this year than they were last year, but playing in the division with your reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champions, playing this year with a brand new not first year quarterback, but a first year in your program quarterback. I think this is a rebuilding year for the Panthers. So if they need to stock up and add a couple more draft picks this year and move a couple of those draft picks for next year, I have no issue with that. I have no problem with that, and I think that's the right direction. So I'm relatively pleased with this news report from Shefty that the Panthers are looking at trading back out of that number 8 spot. I know that you're looking offensive lineman and cornerback, but I think there will be some good offensive linemen and quarterbacks still available as late as the late teens, maybe even early 20s. Maybe they're not as highly graded as Penei Sewell or J.C. Horn, but I think there will be some that are slightly behind them available. And after we did our breakdown of the numbers of first rounders from 2000 to 2016 yesterday, if you missed that, go to ESPN.com, pull up yesterday's Rob Brown Show podcast. In the second hour of the show, we looked through the numbers. After we did that look through the numbers, though, I'm perfectly happy with a trade back to accumulate another 4 or 5 picks over the next 2 years. Let you really look at addressing some of the problem spots, a growth theory this year, and then try to contend next year and fill some gaps with some extra draft picks. I like the move.
I think the main question is, and I don't have a problem with the move either, is when do you pull the trigger on it? Do you do it now, or do you wait till draft day when you see how things are falling a little bit and see if some teams get desperate enough to throw in some extra because they want that pick?
I do it now. And here's the reason. How many times have we seen, whether it's in sports or life, how many times have we seen somebody get too greedy and it cost them, right? It's that guy at the poker table or the blackjack table, and he goes on a run and he gets up a few grand. And then, Zoe, what is the line that cost every gambler at some point in his life? I'm going to let it ride while I'm hot, right? You got to pick a spot where you go, this is the target. When I get here, I'm done, right? And even if you get there and you're in the midst of a hot streak, you got to stop because the hot streak is going to come to its end. I don't want the Panthers to get too greedy, Zoe, and think, okay, what if we can add 1 or 2 more 6-round picks in here? And then you wait. There's a run of all 5 quarterbacks off the board. The Falcons trade out of 4. Somebody jumps in to grab a quarterback. And the Lions trade out. Somebody grabs a quarterback, and there's all 5 gone. Well, all of a sudden, unless a Kyle Pitts is still on the board, all of a sudden that 8 pick is not quite as valuable. You might lose more. I would want to do it now. If there's a team, Zoe, that calls me, if I'm sitting in that front office, and there's a team that calls me and goes, we think that Kyle Trask is going to be available, or not Kyle Trask, we think that Trey Lance is going to be available at number 8. We think that Lance is going to be available at 8. We think he's our QB of the future. We want that 8 spot. We're going to trade you first-round pick straight up, and we will throw in a 3rd and a 6th this year and a 2nd and a 7th next year. So I pull the trigger because if he comes off the board before you find a dance partner on draft day, all of a sudden there's 4 or 5 draft picks that you have lost out on, and you may still not get a guy like a Kyle Pitts. You may still end up having to take a guy like a J.C. Horn. I would rather wait on a guy like that and add 3 or 4 more picks over the next 2 years and not get greedy than take the gamble on draft day Thursday, though.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know. I almost would take the risk and wait. And there again, just because the Panthers are willing to go ahead and pull the trigger now doesn't mean that any other team will be. They may be waiting and end up, they may not have a choice but to wait till the day of the draft. But I agree with you. the best bet for them is to do it now because you don't know what you'll get then. But we're awful close to the draft, so we'll see what happens. They're gonna have to, if they're gonna do it now, they need to do it like in the next day or so.
Yeah, I agree. If you've got somebody on the phone now that is proposing these ideas to you, and that's not to say you take a bath in order to move out. If you end up drafting, here's the good news, though. This is a good problem to have. If you end up drafting 8th, you know what? You end up drafting 8th. It is what it is. Don't take a bath. Don't trade back to 17 in order to pick up another 3rd round pick. No, that ain't worth it. But if you can get 3 or 4 picks out of this, maybe a 2nd rounder somewhere, maybe a 4th, 5th added on top of that down the road, then make the move, but make the move before we get to draft day 1, because if you get to draft day 1, you are going to find yourself in a spot where you either don't stock up 4 or 5 more picks, or you end up picking 8 and somebody jumps ahead of you and gets the guys you want. So, just some thoughts. Carolina fans, what's your preference? Go ahead, trade back, add a few more picks and do it before the draft. Trade back, but wait until draft day to see if you can ramp up the value, or just take best available at number 8 and see who is the guy. Your thoughts are welcome. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. My name is Rob Brown. Lonzo back at the helm. The Rob Brown Show is on the radio. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say play.
I got to make a phone call real quick, guys. I will return in just a moment. While we're on break, go ahead, leave your thoughts out there in the chat. I'll address them when I come back.
1 minute.
All right. I'm going to be hopefully in the next day or two getting some audio from the Triumph Zone, since we're doing that Triumph segment at 1:20 on Wednesdays, to try to put together a little Triumph liner for that segment for you to take a listen to, see if you like it. Hopefully I'll have that done before next week's segment.
I look forward to it.
Outstanding.
20 seconds.
At ESPNUpstate.com, and we'll put him to the test. This is the Rob Brown Show, local sports talk on ESPN Upstate.
Coming up at 1:20 this afternoon, every Wednesday, we do a segment with our Greenville Triumph as they get set to begin. I love the mindset as they play their first match. They're going to be away at the Richmond Kickers coming up on Saturday. We talked last week with Marion Cole. A couple weeks ago, we had John Harks on. I did a special Zoom interview digitally with Coach Harks. We talked to Coach Harks, Zoe, and I got to tell you, man, I love the mentality, and I wish more teams had the mentality that the Triumph are bringing into this year. We asked Harks, a question of Coach Harks. I said, hey, Coach, you know, you're reigning, defending, undisputed USL League One champs. The trophy will be in a couple of weeks on, what is it, May 1st, the first home match. The trophy will be in front of the Greenville Triumph faithful because, well, it's ours. And, you know, how do you go about, pardon me, how do you go about keeping a good mentality about yourselves when you know there's a target on your back as the defending champs? And Hark said, Lonzo, we don't view it as we are defending the trophy. We view it as we're going out to attack and get another one. Hark said, as far as we are concerned, it's not us that has the target on our back. It's everybody else, because the champs are coming for you. The champions are coming to beat you so that we can have the trophy for another year. So I know it doesn't sound like a whole heck of a lot, right? At the end of the day, you're the champs. You're going to get everybody's best shot. That's how championships work. But just that, if you're an athlete, if you're a coach, and you've got this mentality of we're not going out there to play defense in front of the trophy. We're going out there to play offense, to attack, to go get another one. There is a mindset behind that, Lonzo, that I think will push players to go further, to go out and attack. And I loved it. I absolutely loved that line of conversation from John Harks, from Chris Lewis, the president, from Joe and Doug Irwin, the president and chief branding officer. Everybody in that, from the players all the way up to the owner, are not taking the season as a title defense. They are taking this as title offense. We're going to get another trophy. And while it may not sound like a huge difference to a lot of people, so if you're an athlete, you got to think being told we are going to attack as opposed to defend the trophy. I think it's a mentality shift, and Zoe, I love to hear it.
Yeah, unfortunately in sports, especially the last, decade, there's been a trend that after you win the championship, you lose that hunger. And the fact that the top is showing the hunger and the want and all that to go after this thing again, that's cool because that filters down. And there's no way that as a player, you can't go, okay, this is how bad they want it. Well, I want to give it to them.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it always amuses me that at the end of every year after a title gets won, we always see the news story, right? so-and-so is hungry to prove. It's like a news story. So-and-so is hungry to prove that they are worthy champions. And it's like, I mean, you are. You're the champs, right? Why is it breaking news that champion wants to go prove themselves, right? It's like it's a news story that breaks it's an article, it's a blog that comes out every single year. You never hear quarterback of last place team out to prove that he's worth. Like, yeah, of course, every athlete is, but when you hear them say it out loud, when you hear them talk about it out loud, when you hear an athlete say, "We are not here to prove that we are worthy champions. We're here to go be champions again." I just love the mentality. I love the aggression. I love that desire not to prove yourself as defending champs, but to go out there and win another one. It's a mentality shift that I just love to hear. Anyway, we'll be joined at 1:20, working on a guest from the Triumph now, but we will be joined by somebody from the front office or the team coming up at 1:20 for our weekly Greenville Triumph segment. Looking forward to that. Let's do this. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, things are not well on the Clemson baseball front. 9 L's in a row, including a pair of back-to-back walk-off losses. We'll tell you what happened yesterday in Athens when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
Appreciate you guys watching on the stream. Let's see. Keegan says, Spartan Burgers have released their schedule. I think the show and listeners need to go show. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. We're going to get some, mainly because you better believe, Keegan, you better believe that I will absolutely be throwing down on a Spartan Burgers jersey. The Spartan Burgers jersey will be a staple in the rotation when I travel out of town. When I go out of town, I will be rocking a Spartan Burgers jersey everywhere that I go. 100%. Glad you said that. I need to go follow them on Twitter, as a matter of fact. Spartan Burgers. I'm going to share this with you because I think it might be my favorite slogan of a team that I've seen yet. Let me get the screen pulled up. So there's the Twitter page of the Greenville Spartan Burgers. Here, I'll make it full screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Your beef boys of summer, always throwing hashtag heat and meat. Ladies and gentlemen of the viewing audience, I now consider this, forget white boy summer, it is now beef boy summer, hashtag heat and meat. That is great. That is phenomenal. I'm in love with that. Hashtag heat and meat. Let's see what the Spartan Burgers have thrown up on the Twitter feed. Here we go. There's our schedule. Gotta love to see that.
I think the question is the merch out yet?
I'm trying to tell you, Zoe. Ticket packages are out.
I'm talking about jerseys and, or whatever they call baseball uniforms.
See, I want to say that they did put up some of their merch.
As a collector of T-shirts, I would love to have a Spartan Burgers T-shirt.
Oh, 100%. I'm absolutely going Team Jersey. Here we go to the Spartan Burgers new website. All right, let's see. Oh, buy merchandise, though. Here we go.
There we go. We got shirts.
Oh, my word. Beef, beer, bat flips, and baseball.
You would go immediately to.
You kidding me?
You would go immediately to the pink one, wouldn't you?
First off, it's red. But even if it was hot pink, Lonzo, the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, my team from back in the Cola, one of their official colors is hot. I'm talking neon pink with the navy blue.
All right, that doesn't look red from here, but look at the gray one. I'm interested in the gray one. That's blue. There we go. There we go. Because that looks like fries.
It does, but they're baseball bats, Lonzo.
See, that just stood out to me. When that picture showed up, when you threw that up there, that's the one that stood out to me. The one that looked like fries.
That's not bad. There's one with the Spartan Burgers logo of the Coastal Plain League. Yeah, I'll be. Lonzo, they made a baseball cap for you. Look at that. They made a cap just for you.
Oh, it says dad cap.
It says dad cap. It's just for Lonzo.
Yeah, but I'm sure it won't fit my head. It'll look like a beanie.
I love that they advertise. This hat is not just for dads. It's for anyone who wants to keep the sun under the eyes and look stylish while doing it. Can be worn forwards or backwards.
So there we go. All right. That's permission is what that is. Take that, all you people who whine when people wear their hats backwards.
Test beverage. Oh, you can't tease me like that, Spartan Burgers. You have a label of test beverage and nothing available for me.
Maybe it's open to suggestion.
Ooh, don't hate that. That's dude, $250 for season tickets is not a bad deal. Taking my
1 minute
old team site. See if I can find the merch for them.
On everything from laptops to the cloud and solutions powered by Intel Pro platform. All advisors.
Oh, they don't have it up.
Y'all, Jimmy Allen here. Life is cool these days. Just dropped my new EP, Betty Jane, collaborating with true music greats. My day's pretty busy. Packing 48 hours into the day. I joined Dub.
So what is the baseball shirt called?
What is
this? I know there's a football jersey. I know there's a basketball jersey. What is that? Is it just a uniform or does it have a name?
So a jersey is only the top part. It's only when everybody's wearing the same thing, pants included, that it becomes a uniform.
So it is a baseball jersey.
Yes, it is a baseball.
Okay,
jersey.
all right.
But once you put the matching pants and socks,
20 seconds.
That's when it's a uniform, unless you're in Europe, in which case, though, it's called a kit.
That's Napa know-how.
Opinions wanted.
Well, opinions are like what we're saying. Everybody has one.
Call 844-GSP-ESPN. Local sports talk on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio, wrapping up hour number 1 right here on ESPN Upstate. The Spartan Burgers have released their schedule. The new minor league baseball team over in the Berg, the Spartan Burgers. By the way, it's not the Spartanburg Spartan Burgers. It's just the Spartan Burgers. That's the whole name of the team, the Spartan Burgers. They have released their schedule. Their schedule is out. You can go now to their Facebook page and check that out. But they also have merchandise out on their webpage. They have 3 T-shirts available for sale, plus a hat that they have titled, just for Lonzo, the Dad Cap. You, ladies and gentlemen, can be like Zoe with hashtag Dad Kicks and now get a hashtag Dad Cap. It is navy blue. It is a not a snapback. I don't know what you call it. It's not a snapback. It's got the buckle on the back with the cloth thing. But it is a blue cap with the Spartan Burger logo on it. It is hashtag Dad Cap. And I would not be surprised to find out that Lonzo has already ordered one while we were talking about it on the break.
One? Just one? Come on.
At a time. That's all you can wear at a time. It would be dad-wise economically inefficient to buy more than one hat at a time, Lonzo. You know, you only need one hat
unless
in the dad gear world.
Unless they have multiple colors and you want to coordinate with what you're wearing.
That's look, as somebody who does that every day, that's true. That's true. Spartan Burger's schedule is out. We will you had better believe that we will be following the Spartan Burgers right here on the show. 100% without a doubt. 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776 is the number. Noah Pilato will be our Greenville Triumph player who will be joining us here on the show coming up at 1:20. Noah, one of the veterans from last year's reigning, defending, undisputed Greenville Triumph squad. Noah Pilato will be joining us at 1:20. Coming up, actually, I'll tell you about this real quick since I told you I would. I think I've got time to fit it in, and then we'll break the game down later. But Clemson has dropped another game, 7th straight loss for the Clemson baseball team, 2nd straight walk-off loss Tuesday night when they fell to Georgia in Athens 8-7. The Tigers also lost in the bottom of the ninth Sunday when they fell 3-2 at Miami. Clemson, again, 7 straight L's, drops them to 15-18. A 4-run 7th inning put Clemson up 6-4. Keir Meredith, Caden Grice, and Jonathan French had RBI singles, but in the bottom of the 7th, Cole Tate hit a 2-run homer off of Nick Clayton. The second homer allowed by Clayton in as many innings to tie the game at 7 apiece. Georgia scored a run in the bottom of the 8th off of Clemson reliever Jeffrey Gilbert. Grice led off with a double sack to third, scored on a sack by French to make it an 8-8 game. But in the bottom of the 9th, a 1-out walk, a single, and a double off of Gilbert plated the winning run and gave Georgia a sweep of the 2-game season series. The Tigers return to ACC play back home Friday night against Wake to try to get back on the right foot. Quick break. Back after this for Hour 2. Rob Lonzo, this is ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate.
Oh, man.
Golf cart in the first break. I'm hearing the Goodell promo and just marveling on how I matched that music.
It was so good, dude.
The question is, did you notice the clown horn?
Yep, sure did.
Okay. I did have a click and a dial tone, but it just didn't work.
sports leader without moving a muscle.
Great idea until atrophy sets in.
ESPN Upstate. Warning.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
And away we go. Our numero dos, the Rob Brown Show, back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob Brown, Lonzo, the great one, hashtag Dad Kicks, Colonel Grudge, the conductor of the Symphony of Sound. That is the Rob Brown Show, the Alpha and the Omega of Sports Talk Radio, and the content cash cow. All the names. I think that's it. I think that's all the names we've gotten for those so far.
So far.
844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. So we talked to you earlier in the week about this European Super League that some of the owners of 12 major clubs, Atletico Madrid, Inter Milan, Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspur, Manchester United, amongst others, had banded together to create. And there was major kickback from fans who said that this Super League would go so far as to ruin European domestic football. They said basically it was nothing more than a major cash grab. It would ruin football since there was, there's no promotion relegation, which is a big part of European football. For those of you that don't know, the way that the system is set up in European countries for their professional soccer league, they have a relegation promotion league. That is to say, imagine if and I'm going to use baseball as the example. So in baseball, the minor leagues are the minor leagues and the major leagues are the major leagues, and never the twain shall mix, right? Imagine if, Lonzo, in Major League Baseball, the bottom 10 major league teams and the top 10 minor league teams switch places. So if you were, let's say, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and you came in second to last in finishing record in Major League Baseball, the next year you would operate the same as normal, right? Players would come and go. The ballparks would stay the same. Everything would stay the same. But if you finish in the bottom 10 of Major League Baseball in a season, the next year, you're a minor league team. And if you won a minor league championship and were one of the best 10 teams in the minor leagues, you got promoted up to the major leagues. You were playing the Red Sox and the Blue Jays the next year, assuming those teams were still in there. That is how relegation and promotion works in European soccer. And what it does is it gives a shot to the smaller clubs, teams like the Queens Park Rangers. It gives QPR, a team that every couple of years has a great year at the second level. They get to jump up into, say, the Premier League and take on the big teams, which also comes with what? It comes from a ton of new money. You get money for being on the BBC, on Sky Sports, on NBC in America. You get the money from selling tickets because, if Manchester United is coming to town, your stadium's selling out. People are going to be there, both from Manchester and from your part of town, to watch one of the biggest matches in club history. Doesn't mean you get to stay there. You still got to keep producing results in order to stay in the league. But what this new Super League does is it would take a lot of the top tier teams away, and it would do major damage to the domestic leagues, right? Especially if folks like the Premier League said, yeah, we're not going to allow you to continue to play in our domestic league if you play in this Super League that is going to do massive financial damage to us. We're not going to allow it. Now, I'm not bringing this up to have the discussion necessarily about I'm not going to bring this up to have the discussion about the soccer leagues itself, because I know that there's only a handful of folks in the area that are, big EPL fans or La Liga fans. I am bringing it up because I firmly believe that it was the massive fan backlash, that was so deep that it was a major topic of conversation on just about every American sports broadcasting outlet, right? We had tens of thousands of fans that were marching together to stadiums around Europe, in Italy, in England, in France, to protest. Not France; they didn't have any teams in, but in England and Italy and a couple other smaller countries where some of these teams were located, were marching on their stadiums and hanging banners that said, "I'm out." That were marching on stadiums and saying, "If you play in this league, I'll give you no more money. I am out." Yesterday, we found out that Atletico Madrid, Inter Milan, Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspur, Manchester United have all withdrawn from the proposed European Super League. AC Milan, Juventus, both released independent statements later on Wednesday, clarifying that the ESL can now not go forward, but stopping short of confirming that they had abandoned the project altogether, which wouldn't shock me. This type of league is proposed every handful of years by a handful of owners across Europe's biggest soccer leagues. And for the most part, it's been shot down because teams have been unwilling to commit to it, right? They've said, "Oh, we're interested," but they wouldn't go so far as to commit. Well, these 12 teams all signed up and committed to it until the fans unleashed the wrath of Hades upon them, which got 7 of the 12 to immediately back up. 2 of the remaining 5 have now said that the proposed league is not dead, but that it cannot go forward now. So it is basically, for now, dead in the water, right? The point of the conversation here, to me, is that I am wildly impressed at how these fans operated together in order to make this happen. How these fans operated together to take down billionaires like Jay Glazer, the owner, and the Glazer family, the owner of Manchester United, an American family who bought that club solely to make money off of it, which of course they did. No owner of a professional sports team owns the team just for funsies. They might have some funsies while they're doing it, but they own the team to make money off of it. But when it got to the point that fans were going, "You are doing damage to us in order to make more money. You are doing damage to us to make more money," they banded together, they marched, they protested, they hung the banners, they started canceling their tickets, and the owners backed down. Lonzo, even if there are 10, 11, 12 other factors involved in this, which there very well might be, but even if there are 10, 11, 12 other factors, the fact, Lonzo, that 12 billionaires banded together to create this league, 7 of them backed down, 2 more of them have now said it is not realistic today to get this European Super League off the ground. The fact that the fans were the primary driving catalyst to get owners to back down, all I'm saying, though, man, I hope as American sports fans, I hope we're learning a lesson here. I hope we are learning a lesson here about what can be accomplished if we all actually do the things that we say we will do when we are upset about the direction that one of our leagues is headed in.
Yeah, but I don't see that happening here. And I also don't see anyone here, as far as billionaires go, care that much. I just don't. And we heard for years, we talked about this before, about, teams from the NCAA leaving and starting their own league, or other teams leaving and starting their own league. This, to me, means that the way things are going to stay, and that fans don't want change. They may complain about it, but they really don't want it. So if you're unhappy with how things are now, you just got to deal with it, because people fear change so much they don't want it to change. If this would have been successful, it could have changed sports, all sports. It would have give some people the guts, the umption to try and do it themselves. And now they look at this and go, okay, if they can't do it, how could we do it? So if you like how the NCAA is now, you like the NFL, you like how the NBA is, get used to it because it's going to stay the same just like soccer has.
So, look, and I think you're spot on here, Alonzo. I think you're spot on here in that it would be tough to get American owners to back down the way that they got the owners of Man U, Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspur, etc., to back down. But billionaires will back down, owners will back down from a decision made for their club for one reason and one reason alone. You're going to threaten their bottom line. That's it. That's it. I told you a story once, and I'll very quickly tell it again, real quick, brief nuts and bolts version. Of the day that I realized what these owners are about. Okay? Here's the day I realized what the owners are about. At the Senior Bowl around 2010, 2011, down in Mobile, Alabama, I was covering the Senior Bowl for the network I was working for at the time and for Yahoo Sports Radio. They had sent me down there as kind of a freelance reporter to cover practices in the game and all that. One night, I was sitting with a friend of mine, Roman Harper. He used to play for Alabama, then played for the Saints. His brother Brian was one of my co-hosts back in the day. And I was sitting with Brian and with Roman. And at the table was Sean Payton, the head coach of the Saints, Mickey Loomis, the GM of the Saints, and Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, was there. And Jerry is sitting at the table, and he is trying to sell season tickets to people at the table for the Dallas Cowboys, people who are not from Dallas and not Dallas fans. Well, a little while later, Sean Payton says, hey, let's walk down across the street. There was a little bar called Veets. Veets was right across the street from the hotel where the players and the coaches were staying. And Veets was basically closed all week to only Senior Bowl VIPs. So only, if you walked in that bar, it was NFL coaches and owners and general managers, NFL players, talent evaluators, scouts, et cetera, but it was basically all people who worked in the league. Well, I got invited by Roman, Brian, and Sean Payton to go down into Veets, and we all leave together. Well, as we're going down, I end up in the elevator. It's me, it's Brian, and it's Jerry Jones who end up in the elevator together. And Jerry starts talking to us. And Jerry Jones, the multi-billionaire owner of the Dallas Cowboys, he says to me, Lonzo, hey, son, have you seen the new Cowboys stadium yet? And I said, no, sir. I have not. I'm hoping to get over there one day. And he said, well, what you ought to do, you ought to buy some season tickets. And I started laughing. And I said, well, JJ, I didn't say JJ. I said, well, sir, I'm actually a Saints fan. And he said, well, I know you got family who's Cowboys fans. Why don't you buy them some season? Dude, Lonzo, I am a 25-year-old student. All right. Brand new in the radio game. 25 years old. I don't have money now. I didn't have money then. He's trying to sell me season tickets. I say, JJ, I appreciate it. I'm not buying Cowboy season tickets. And he says, well, have you bought any of the new sweatshirts in the clothes yet? We put out a whole new line of NFL merchandise. And he's selling me, Zoe, he's trying to sell me, a Saints fan. He's trying to sell me stuff. And dude, Zoe, the entire time that I'm in a 3-person interaction with Jerry Jones, all he's trying to do is sell me stuff. Because at the end of the day, all Jerry Jones cares about is selling stuff for money. That's it. That's what the owners are about. That's it. That's all they care. They don't care about you or your family or anything. They care about money. Well, what was it that the fans, FIFA and UEFA did to make this league that would have been a cash cow go away from these owners? They said, you might make money from the Super League, but you will stop making money from everything else. You will lose more money from us than you will make from the Super League. And we won't watch and we won't buy tickets and we won't go. That's it. If you want the NFL to change, if you want the NBA to change, if you want Major League Baseball to change, there is only one way to do it, and it's to stop spending money. So stop spending money. That's it. Make the ratings go down on TV so the TV companies stop giving them money, stop buying merchandise, stop buying tickets. Lonzo, painful reality that I recognized as we talked about this yesterday, ain't never going to happen. Ain't never going to happen. We're never going to do it. The Europeans did it. We're never going to do it. And that's why the leagues continue to do dumb things and will never stop, because JJ's bottom line is the only thing he cares about, and it will never change. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776 is the number. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. When we come back here in a minute, Noah Pilato, veteran member of the Greenville Triumph, one of the reigning defending undisputed League One champions from last year, will join us right here on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonzo, you, Noah Pilato with the Triumph next, right here on ESPN Upstate.
Golf cart.
Yep.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
It is golf season, America. And right here in the Upstate, you've got the best deal for golfers we have ever had. Ladies and gentlemen, the Upstate Golf Cart is on sale right now. I'm going to tell you about it, but while I do, go to upstategolfcart.com, upstategolfcart.com to figure it out. On the golf cart, we have 9 premier Upstate golf courses available for you, and it's just $99. $99. You're getting over $450 worth of golf. That is over a 75% value. That is less than $15 a round at 9 of the most beautiful courses in the Upstate. But the supplies are limited. They are already selling, and they will sell out. We have sold them out, I believe, 3 or 4 times in a row now. They will sell out. Get yours now. Get a couple. Give one to Pops. Take the old man golfing. Give one to your best friend. Give yourselves an excuse to get out 9 Sundays in a row and play a little golf. You want to learn more, go to upstategolfcart.com, upstategolfcart.com. It is the best deal for golfers in the Upstate. It is the Upstate Golf Cart.
AutomotiveMap.com.
By the way, who is the owner of that soccer club that you keep talking about?
Which one?
The Glazer.
Manchester United, Jay Glazer and the Glazer family.
You sure? You sure it's Jay? Sure it's not Joel?
Oh, come on, Robert. Jay Glazer, of course, noted Fox NFL analyst. Why would you not tell me that on the air, Zoe, instead of making me? I would rather sound like an idiot but be corrected.
Well, you said it twice, and I had to look it up because when I hear Jay Glazer, I think, UFC and NFL. Yeah. And
unbelievable. Zoe, I think I would be better at this job if I wasn't an idiot.
Sorry, that's twice now. Jeez. 2 different people putting in Mark's promo, unless it's way, way too low. Well, Tim did the same thing, so I wonder if there's something wrong with the cart. The fact that Diesel did that. Maybe I should look at the cart first. Or maybe I'll just send an email and have him fix it because delegation.
I need to make a promo out of the Jerry the King interview. Was there anything that you remember that stood out to you? I got to go back and listen to it again.
Yeah, I made a 30 out of it. I just didn't make a 60. I mean, you can listen, but we needed more 30s.
Yeah.
And so I made the 30 out of the pothole thing. I just didn't send it to you. It was I was busy Friday night. So. Also, speaking of promos, check your email.
Yes, I saw that. I got out of the habit because he made me a new liner for it, and then I just got out of the habit of making one after the show. So I'll send you one today. Was that Noah you were answering the phone for, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Anytime at 71307. Use keyword ESPN followed by your comment. Local sports talk on The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, you. Every Wednesday at 1:20, we feature your reigning, defending, undisputed League One champion Greenville Triumph. They get the regular season started and underway coming up on Saturday evening. Today we welcome in a midfielder, a guy who will be rocking that star over the crest this year, a massive part of what the team did last year and hopes to do again this year. Noah Pilato joins us here on the Rob Brown Show. Noah, my man, appreciate you taking a couple minutes. Great to have you on the air, bud. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. Happy to be here.
Absolutely, man. Great to have you. First and foremost, we're going to talk, obviously, quite a bit of soccer over the next few minutes. But I did not know this. You're a Warzone guy, which means that you and I are going to have to get together and get some Season 3 Warzone going on here. I know that most people don't care, Noah, but we got to squad up now, man. That's just how it works.
Yeah, say no more. Say no more. I'm definitely down. I heard that there's a new map coming out today at 3.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that. And we'll definitely have to run some games.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We're going to make it happen. Noah, I want to ask you first. Noah and I were talking about this earlier. 2 weeks ago, we had John Harks on. We had Chris Lewis on not too long before that, club president. And both of them said something without prompting from me that I love. Both of them said that the mentality of this club coming up this year is not we are going out to defend the trophy, but that we are going out to attack and win another one. We don't want to prove that we're worthy champs. We want to go out and prove that we are the champions of this league. Do you feel that mentality trickles down to the roster? And what does it mean to you to have a coach and a president and a club that they're not just happy enough to have won one, but they reset the goal to let's go get another one?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that what they said is extremely transparent through our entire locker room. We did what we had to do last year. We had an amazing season. We won the title, undisputed, no matter what anyone, has anything to say about. And this year we want to go out and do the exact same thing. Obviously there's going to be a bit of a target on our backs, having won the title last year, but we don't want to get caught up in the whole title defense debate. We need to go out and do what we know we're capable of doing and not defend the title, but win another title back to back.
Noah Pilato joining us here on the Rob Brown Show, and ESPN Upside plays midfield for your Greenville Triumph, the defending League One champs. Talk to me a little bit about the preseason. One match in particular, you guys got to go up and play a closed match against DC United, an MLS side. And Coach Hartz was very happy with the performance. So was Chris Lewis. Both of them said that, there was no intimidation. You guys wanted to set the tone, not just for the preseason, but really test yourselves heading into the regular season. Can you talk to us a little bit about what it was like to share the pitch with an MLS team, which means that they recognize what the Triumph is, where the Triumph are right now, in order to agree with that? What was it like to be able to share the pitch for the MLS team? And do you think that really did kind of help to form the mentality you guys are taking into the regular season this year?
Yeah, for sure. It was an amazing opportunity for us. As players, you want to play at the highest level, and in this country, the MLS is the highest level. So to go up against, the guys that are there, to kind of gauge where we're at and gauge where you're at in the individual level was a really, really cool experience. And I think that it just shows, that no matter where you're playing, obviously we're in League One and they're a couple of leagues ahead of us, but, we're more than capable of hanging with those guys and playing at that level. So I think that radiated a lot of confidence within our group to see that, maybe, those guys on paper are a couple of leagues ahead of us and where we want to be, but we're more than capable of being there and playing and hanging. And we're worthy of playing with the best, best in this country. So like I said, obviously that was an amazing experience. And I think that, it's not that our group lacked confidence, but I think that this just added, that extra level of confidence to our team that, it's going to put us to another level. So, and for me, my first year pro, I played within that organization. So actually a lot of the guys I knew and it was good to see that. So it was a kind of double-edged sword for me. I got to play against guys that I, had played against my first couple of years and then, to gauge our level against, the best competition possible was awesome.
Noah Pilato of the Greenville Triumph joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. But that wasn't it. I mean, you guys played 4 preseason matches, all against upper-level competition. You also had a 0-0 draw against Charleston Battery, played Louisville City, took a win away from the Charlotte Independence, a 2-1 win over there at Bob Jones University right here in Greenville. To not only play upper-level competition in the preseason, but to have success with that upper-level competition, draws against DC United and Charleston Battery, the win over Charlotte Independence, to have success against upper-level competition, what do you think that does for the mentality and the mindset of this team when you get set up for League One play starting on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a testament to how good we really are. Obviously we know as a team how special we are and as a group, but when you get to go out and prove that, I think it just adds that little bit of reassurance that, maybe some people need. And, we got great results and we've shown together great performances. So I think going into the League One season, it just sets us up, for absolute success. And like I said before, those guys might be technically, in the league above us, but it just goes to show that we have a team full of guys that, could play at any level in this country. And it gives us just an amazing amount of confidence going into the season.
Speaking with Noah Pilato, midfielder for the Greenville Triumph, your reigning, defending, undisputed USL League One champions as they get set for their first official regular season match on Saturday. One thing that you guys get to deal with this year, aside from having that proverbial target on your back, Noah, 14 players returning, but there are a few new ones added into the mix. So just like anybody else, you get to work on not just building a new chemistry, but doing so with a really good core group of players that remain on board from last year. How has it been working a couple of the new guys into the rotation while still bringing back veteran leadership from a team that really has only been together a couple of years now? I mean, even the most tenured players on this roster have only been here for a couple of years. How has it gone in terms of moving on from the players that are playing in other portions of USL and other leagues now and bringing some new guys into the fold with the 14 veterans that remain on this team from last year?
Right. Yeah. So I think this was similar to the situation as I came into the team last season. They returned a core group of players and added, a handful of key pieces, and it's kind of what we're doing again this year. And I think that it's just a testament to John and the ownership that they trust the guys that they have, and they know and can recognize the guys that they need to bring in, which they've done. The handful of guys they brought in have meshed perfectly within our team, which was similar to how it was last season. The older guys in the leadership in this team, Aaron Walker and Tyler as captains. And then, like I said, with John in the ownership, it's just an extremely welcoming environment. So it's almost like it's foolproof. You can't not come into here and just feel at home. It's an amazing environment. It's an amazing situation. The guys that we brought back, obviously we had a lot of success last year. It's always good to throw in a little bit of new flavor and a couple little new pieces, which is what we've done with the guys we've brought in. So I think that, John and the ownership have assembled a really, really special team again, and I'm really excited to see where it's going to go.
Noah Pilato is a member of the Greenville Triumph, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. I've been following, obviously, during the preseason. One of the things that caught my eye from Coach Harks in one of the post-game pressers, he said that there are a couple of things that he wants to work on coming back from this 2020 season. He mentioned that he wants to kind of have increased amount of creativity on the field, maybe a little more ability for players to do special things up front. But he mentioned that one of the things he is looking at is finding ways to join the midfield third with the attacking third more consistently, be a little more aggressive transitioning from the mid third to the attacking third. Obviously, you had a couple of beautiful goals last year. I think you had a goal of the week at one point last year, if I recall off the top of my head correctly. Have you felt that in this preseason, and are we going to see, do you think, a little bit more of the midfielders getting involved in the attacking third of the field?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have lethal guys up top. We have guys that are super dangerous in front of goal with Lachlan and Morel, JJ bringing in Don Smart. But to add that another element to our game, to have myself, Walker, Andrew Booth, guys in the midfield, if we can add that, another level of unpredictability, we're typically supposed to be, holding midfielders, but if we can add that to our game to get us into the attack and to throw teams for a little bit of a curveball there, that just makes us that much more dynamic and that much more unpredictable. So we have been really working on that, and it all comes from, it'll stem from us making sure that we're, covered in the back, and we obviously want to defend well and be together on that page. So, we say that the midfielders need to join into the attack, but it all comes from, can the defense cover us? Can we cover the guys in front of us? So it's a little bit more complicated than that, but it is something that John's been harping, and it is something that, we've been working on. He is very, very adamant about the group being creative, which is really special as a player to hear, because, the game is so tactical and so structured, but we're very comfortable in our structure and in our formation. So for him to give us the free reign and the freedom to be creative, I think it's just going to make us that much more unpredictable, and it's going to be amazing. So we're really looking forward to it. I mean, I would love to get forward and score some goals for the boys. So we're hopefully that can happen.
Love it. I'm going to go ahead and bank on it now. Noah Pilato, midfielder for the Greenville Triumph, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. So Noah, last year, one of, I don't think I'm assuming, I think it's a fact, arguably the most interesting year for any athlete from the high school level all the way up to the professionals to play. I mean, minimal fans in attendance, a handful of games, handful of matches where there were no fans in attendance last year. This year, we're gonna kind of start working our way back to normal. We hope get some more fans in there. Obviously, you guys are away for a couple of matches before you get that first match back home in front of Legacy Early College. What is it going to mean for you to be back in, and what's it going to do for the game for both you and the Triumph in terms of energy and excitement to get back in front of fans, especially get back in front of a stadium full of Greenville Triumph fans that are going to get to see that star on the crest and that USL League One trophy displayed prominently there on the stage?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be extremely special. The Reedy River Ride and the fan base that we have here in Greenville is something that we're extremely grateful for. Even when they weren't allowed into the stadium, they were extremely supportive, via social media, just in the community. So we're extremely grateful for the way that they've handled themselves throughout, the whole pandemic situation and the support that they've given us. To be able to actually play, we kind of got a taste of it a little bit with I think it was 20% capacity or whatever it was for a few games last year. So we got a little sniff, and it just made us that much hungrier to be able to get out in front of all of them, because we know they're dying for it. They deserve it. They deserve to see this team in the stadium and to see that star on the badge. They're just as much of a part of it as we were, even though they weren't actually in the stadium. So to be able to actually put that on display for them in person is going to be really special.
Noah Pilato joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. A couple more questions, Noah. We'll let you get back to work as you guys get set to for a game against Richmond on Saturday. I've asked every member of the Triumph I've had the pleasure of having on the show this same question, and now I'll ask you. Since I moved here about a year ago, and since I've been here, one of the things that I have loved has been the relationship between really all the professional sports team, whether it's the Swamp Rabbits or the Drive, the Spartanburgers, and of course the Triumph. The relationship between community and team for all of those sides has been incredible to see. I've traveled around the South, and I've never been in a place that has the sense of community between the team and the community that it represents. For you as a Triumph player, 2 seasons in the bag, a championship star on the crest, what has it been like to get to know this community, to get to really have those personal interactions with the supporters around Greenville? What's it been for you on the player side to experience that relationship between Greenville and the Upstate and the Triumph?
Yeah, again, I've said it a couple of times, I know, but it really is special to be a part of a team as special as this, and to have a community that backs the team. It really is something special to feel that support whenever you're out. And whenever you're out and about, you see the supporters, you open up Twitter, you open up Instagram, there's someone saying something nice, someone supporting the team. So it's just like wherever you look and wherever you turn, there's always something or someone that's having your back, which, I mean, for me as a player, it just makes you that much more prideful when you put on the jersey. Obviously you want to do it for yourself in the club and the ownership, but to know that there's fans out there that genuinely care, it makes you that much more prideful and makes you want to perform that much better, because you know how important that it is. It really is more than just a game. It's special. It's a really special connection that we have, and I'm definitely grateful to be here and grateful to be a part of all that.
Noah Pilato, Green Triumph member midfielder, as they get set for their Saturday kick against the Richmond Kickers. Last question before we let you go. I guess more of a statement I want you to respond to, Noah Pilato. Those new jerseys look clean, bro. They look clean, my man.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
They did all right, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, the new Homo stuff, the new Homo gear is definitely something, and we're excited to put it all in showcase for you guys for sure.
Yeah, those tartan kits are clean. The green checkerboard look is fantastic. Cannot wait to see them in person. Saturday, Greenville will take on the Richmond Kickers at City Stadium in Richmond. And then on Saturday, May 1st, it is back home when the Triumph and the First are the USL League champions from the year before, the North Texas SC, come to town. A little revenge match there from the first Triumph championship. That's going to be Saturday, May 1st at 7 o'clock. Tickets are on sale at greenvilletriumph.com. Noah Pilato, midfielder for the Triumph, our guest here on the Rob Brown Show. Noah, my man, it's great to get to talk to you. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us, and I will see you in the war zone in the next couple of days, big dog.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. I appreciate you having me on.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. That's Noah Pilato, midfielder for your reigning, defending, undisputed USL League One champions, the Greenville Triumph. Quick break. We're back after this. Rob Alonzo and you. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
Zoe, I'm having an internal struggle with myself right now. Do I, for the first time since I was literally a high schooler, do I leave Xbox and move over to the PlayStation? Your hair looks great, by the way. Not as good as Rob Ryan. So do I flip from the Xbox to the PlayStation in my next upgrade, though? You are no help right now at all, man. I can't hear you if you're talking to me. Or are you just ignoring me? I guess Lonzo's ignoring me now. Oh.
40 seconds.
All right. Priorities, Lonzo. I get it. Priorities.
Not a lie.
Priorities.
I will be hazy by the end of the show. More so than usual.
Thanks to Noah Pilato for joining us here on the show from the Greenville Triumph. They'll kick their season off on Saturday night at Richmond, then 7 days later back home to take on North Dallas FC in a matchup from the Triumph's first appearance in the USL League One Championship. They were defeated by North Texas SC before they won last year, and pretty excited to be there. In fact, they're having a championship celebration coming up before the game on that Saturday, Lonzo. And I don't know if I'm allowed to announce this yet, Zoe, but they will have an incredibly handsome MC before that match for their championship celebration in front of fans.
Congratulations to Diesel.
Noted soccer fan Diesel will be in attendance. I might very well try to get him out there. I might very well try. They do a couple of beer specials pre-kickoff. I might be able to talk D-Train.
So that's what it takes. Okay.
I listen, Zoe, you just got to know how to play the game. Question is, Alonzo, the question is, am I going to get the great one to attend a match in person with me this season?
Well, as I've said many times before, Saturday I have another gig.
There's a couple of Sunday afternoon matches.
Sunday I probably am in. It just depends on if I'm babysitting or not. If I can get out of babysitting, I'm there.
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen.
I have never been to a major soccer or a soccer game period.
Really?
Ever that I recall. So
really, well,
or soccer match, however you say it.
I'm fine either way. Fortunately for you, I know a guy who can help fix that for you, Lonzo. Hashtag just saying. All right, 844-GSP. ESPN 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. 71307. The Ingles Market text line is open. Shoot us a text. We'll chat about whatever you want to chat about. Let's do this. We are way off the clock. Let's take a real quick break, get back on it. We'll come back here in just a minute from right now. We have not yet talked, Alonzo, about the Jake Paul Ben Askren fight from this weekend. So we will address that very painfully and briefly when we come back here in just a minute. I'm Rob Brown. He's the great Alonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon.
Oh, my goodness. So, Lonzo, do I flip to the PlayStation away from the Xbox? I need help on this.
Here's what I think you should do, because obviously you make a lot of money in radio, and that's do both.
Well, I'll only be able to go one of the two next gens up front, right? So I can either keep the Xbox One and get a PS5, or upgrade to the new Xbox S, I think is the next one. I can go to the S and not have a PlayStation. I think I may have to get the PS5 and just keep the Xbox One, and that way I do kind of have both, and then just get the next Xbox after that.
Well, as someone who currently has two people in the households who have the next gen Xbox, and I do not, right now, I tell you it's a whole lot faster when we play together. They have to wait for me because I'm not loaded in, and they're nearly instantly in whatever game we're playing, which is kind of embarrassing, and they let me know about it. You know, data's slow. That type thing.
Hashtag seasoned citizen.
Yeah, well, I probably could still outrun both of them.
Ooh.
Anyway. See, I'm not buying one yet, even though I'm being peer shamed by my children.
Peer shamed.
Yeah. Well, as gamers, they're my peers.
I just love that you called your children your peers.
They are in gaming for sure.
Okay, fair enough.
But there is nothing to me yet that says, hey, come out, you got to go out and buy this console. There are no games that are exclusive to either that you can't already play on the last generation. So until that happens, and I don't believe I've ever bought a gaming system until price drop, and probably will wait again until they come out with a game that I can't play on my Xbox One or my PlayStation 4, since I have both of those. If I can't play on one of can't play it on those, then I will consider getting the next gen. Yeah. But I think it really comes down to, unless there's a lot of cross-platform for you, it's going with what all your friends play. Especially in your case when you play a lot of online with your friends.
Yeah, so most of me amigos are on PlayStation. Most of the folks I play with are on PlayStation. I have been on Xbox like since the OG Xbox dropped. And this is the first time I've ever considered changing over. I think I'm probably going to have to, just so that I can play the majority of the games that my buddies play on PlayStation. And I think most of the Xbox games are going to be cross compatible. So I'll still be able to play the new games. It'll just be
30 seconds.
They just won't be optimized.
So as someone who doesn't have, the money to just go out and buy one system or another, I always wait for price drop. But again, if you want to get one, go with the one that your friends are playing.
Yeah.
Filtered sports talk brewed locally.
Oh my God, a hipster! Bring him a microbrew, quick!
This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
All right, the Rob Brown Show rolled on. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob Lonzo and you, 844-GSP-ESPN. Jake Paul, Ben Askren this weekend. So, man, we talked about this quite a bit leading up to this fight. And I said, well, if Jake Paul beats Ben Askren, he's not a boxer, but at least he's beating a real fighter, somebody who has actually been involved in combat sports and trained and all that. So I don't want to come across as cynical here, and I've already failed before I've even said anything. I did not watch that fight live. I did not watch that fight live because I refused to even stream it for free. I refused to do it because I don't even want the sites that streamed that fight to get advertising revenue that they could could say came because of Jake Paul and Ben Askren. Here's what I will say. Ben Askren did not look like he took that fight seriously. He looked out of shape. He looked dodgy. He looked questionable. I was not happy with him. I was not happy with the fight after I went back and watched the replay of it later. I'm not going to jump onto the chorus of people that are screaming that the fight was rigged, that Askren took a dive just for the payday. I'm not going to do all that. What I am going to say, Lonzo, is it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart for real boxers that so many people, because Jake Paul won that fight, quote unquote, so many people at a point in time where boxing, I would love to see them start reaching out and bringing in the next generation, instead are convinced that what Jake Paul is doing is boxing. It sucks. It hurts my heart as a boxing fan, Zoe. And yes, I know I'm coming across as cynical, but I'm telling you it's sincere. As a boxing fan, I am saddened by the fact that fight not just went to Jake Paul, but that he won in the first round with a TKO, and people are now starting to scream that, oh, Jake Paul's a real boxer. Just stop.
Well, first of all, I haven't even watched the replay because I don't care. Because of, whichever Paul it is, I get those confused, whichever brother it was. And so you knocked out a guy in the first round who was famous for getting his head nearly kneed off in the UFC. So is that an accomplishment? It's not really. But there's a generation that Jake and his brother are going after, and that generation, for the most part, seems to follow them and know what they're doing. So in the end, can they say boxing? Probably not. But at least they're bringing attention to boxing. If he wants to beat somebody relevant, well, he needs to beat somebody who he just called out.
Or beat a boxer, Lonzo?
By the way, he just called out Daniel Cormier. Not a boxer. Daniel Cormier, not a boxer. He's a wrestler. I don't think Cormier is going to bite on it. But if he did, Cormier could beat both the brothers in there together at the same time.
In a just boxing match?
In a just boxing match.
I will. In fact, I feel dirty even giving him time on the show to discuss it, to tell you the truth. I will tune back in. I will talk about it again when Jake Paul calls out a boxer. He has not called out a boxer yet. Not once. Take on Deontay Wilder, big boy. Take on Deontay. I'm not even talking about Tyson Fury.
I was going to say, take on the Gypsy King.
No, I'm not even asking him to go all the way up to the champ. Take on Deontay Wilder. Take the clearly second place guy. See if you can see what you do. Take on a boxer, man. Like,
see, I don't even know what weight class that Paul is in, but take on someone like Canelo Alvarez or some a boxer that's even if they're retired, are a name and an actual boxer, and then we can talk.
Yeah. Take on Terrence Crawford.
Take on Mike Tyson.
Take on that. You know what, Zoe? That would be more of a boxing match than anything he's done so far. Take on Errol Spence Jr. Take on literally anybody. Just as a boxing fan, it sucks because people are watching this crap and they're going, that's real boxing. And so if there's one person who deserves to be #DadKicks now, it sounds like me. Get off my lawn, you kids. That's not boxing back in my day. Except for this time, I'm right. 1 hour left on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Lonzo, this is ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate.
You have a Prisma in the first break.
Prisma.
Man, check this out.
Your unofficial Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real.
Yeah. Real, unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown!
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Colorado, the best hour of the Rob Brown Show gets started now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Rob, Lonzo, and you. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingalls Market text line at 71307. 71307. That's the Ingalls Market text line. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at ESPN Upstate, and at Lonzo One Word. All the different Twitter handles for you to and get at us on the social media. Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/ESPN Upstate. If you follow us on either one of those, you will see our live stream pop up every single day. Every day it pops up on ESPN Upstate. You can join us, watch behind the scenes, chat with Lonzo and I during breaks, ask us questions both about sports and life in general. The stream is live. ESPN, Rob, Jake Paul v. Conor McGregor. McGregor's got serious hands. I'd watch that. The interesting thing is, though, first off, if Conor McGregor loses to Dustin Poirier in their rubber stamp match, is that it for him? Is he done? If he drops that third?
If I recall, he had, 3 fights left on his contract?
And this would be number 2.
So he'll fight somebody else.
So he'll do one more, and then I would guess Conor McGregor probably hangs it up at that point, right?
Unless there's he's not going to get a payday to box Jake Paul like he did last time he boxed, so probably not going to happen.
I would bet you that if McGregor fought Jake Paul, I would bet you the purse for that would be a handful of million for both of them. I'd bet you it would.
It's not going to be Mayweather money, though.
No, it won't be Mayweather money, but it'd still be pretty daggum nasty money for both of them. And if McGregor gets to a point where he starts taking, showbiz fights, it could happen down the line. Won't happen anytime soon. You'll also notice that all the people that, all the folks that Jake Paul calls out, with the exception now of Daniel Cormier, all the folks that he's calling out are just nobodies. Former NBA superstar, one-wheeled retired MMA fighter. You know what I mean? Like, I was hoping Ben Askren would put up more of a show just because he's at least a combat sports veteran. But I'm not banking on it. I'm not banking on it. Like at all. Anyway, other things to talk about. The U.S. women's national soccer team, the national soccer team of the United States right now, have made their way. They've got their Olympic bid, and we now know who will be joining them in the first round of play. The Americans are ranked number 1 in the FIFA soccer ratings. They learned that they are in Group G. That will include their rivals, number 5, Sweden, number 9, Australia, and number 22, New Zealand. So they get Sweden, the Aussies, and the Kiwis. That was a draw held last night. Host Japan, ranked number 11, is joined by number 8 Canada, number 6 Great Britain, and number 37 Chile in Group E, while number 14 China, number 7 Brasilia, and number 104 Zambia, and number 3 the Netherlands round out Group E. Number 2 Germany, who won the 2016 Olympic gold medal. Number 4 France, they did not qualify for the Olympics. So we have our pool. We know the dates. The women will take on Sweden to open Olympic play on July 21st. 3 days later, they take on the Kiwis on the 24th. And then on July 27th, they take on Aussie, oi, oi, oi. I don't know about you, Lonzo. You a fan of the Olympics? You get into the Olympics?
Yes, I love the Olympics. I'll watch badminton. I'll watch the shooting thing where they're going all the way across country on skis. I don't care. I go USA.
I will watch damn near anything on television if you slap the American flag on the jersey and put us up against the rest of the world. I will watch anything. I am going to prepare you well in advance. We've got 2 more years until it happens. But Lonzo, when the Winter Olympics roll around, your boy becomes America's #1 curling fan. You will be getting curling breakdowns when it happens.
Well, we've had curling on the station before, and we have curling in the area. So I enjoy the curling, so I'm down.
The curling is great. But the Summer Olympics, whether it's track and field, if you told me, Lonzo, that at some point in time, I was going to spend hours of my life, cumulatively, hours of my life, watching guys and gals line up, run 100 meters, and then that's it. And I was going to watch it as if it was a Super Bowl in my ute, I would have called you crazy. Now when the Olympics roll around, I am all in. Now, with that being said, this morning when I got up, started show prepping, I looked down the draws for the women's dates to see where the Americans were going to be grouped, if we would draw the always and ever-present group of death. Zoe, there was something this morning about opening that article and seeing the dates of the game. I mean, we knew the Olympics are happening. We know it's going to be weird. We know they're not going to be fans. We know there's only going to be Japanese fans and international media, but not actually fans from around the world there like we are traditionally used to. Even without all of that, Lonzo, when I opened that article this morning and I saw dates, July 21st, 24th, 27th, that when the women play soccer. Lonzo, I got really excited because it's happening. It's happening. We had the Olympics postponed from last year to this year. Then it became, are they going to be able to pull it off? We've had some countries that have said they didn't think they were going to be able to make it. Even the Japanese, the Tokyo Olympic Committee, at one point was saying, we don't know if we're going to be able to pull this off. We have questions about the reality, about the possibility of this. As I was watching all of this play out, I just kept waiting, Lonzo. I just kept waiting for the announcement, the 2021 Olympics have been canceled. We don't feel comfortable. We don't feel safe. We don't think we're going to be able to pull this off. I just kept waiting for that bombshell to drop, Zoe. I just kept waiting for the sheer disappointment of finding out that we were not going to have the Olympics. And instead, here we are. We got May and June and the front half of the July to wait. We are 2.5 months away from the Summer Olympics. And I would argue, Zoe, a Summer Olympics that for us as human beings is maybe the most important Summer Olympics of our lives.
I know you're talking about how far, and I agree with you, talking about how far out it is, which is not really that far, but also keep in mind that we're going to have trials, and Olympic trials will be all over the place, and we'll be able to watch all the athletes that are trying to make it there, and that's always fun.
I would argue, Zoe, that while the Olympics are great, especially, look, when we've got Americans that are in contention for most of the events, it's exciting, no doubt about it. But the Olympic trials, to me, are every bit, if not more so, what sports are about. Because think about what's on the line for the folks that are in the trials, right? If you're at the Olympics, even if you come in dead last, you competed in the Olympics, man. You get to forever carry that Olympic tattoo or whatever you want to do around with you if you make it to the Olympics, even if you come in dead last. If you make it to an Olympic trial where you've got to earn your way in, these are folks that put years of their lives into training for the one thing that they do. And for most Olympic athletes, Lonzo, they get one shot. They get one shot. If they don't make it to these Olympics, there is no 4 years we try again. This is it. You're in your prime for one Olympic cycle, and that's all. So the Olympic trials, Lonzo, are people who are not just the best in our country at what they do, competing against each other, but they are people who are literally fighting to achieve a dream. And if they fail at the trials, the last 4, in this case, 5 years of work and effort and struggle and discipline and maintaining what it takes to be an elite, it was, I don't want to say it was wasted, but Zoe, in a way, in an existential way, it was wasted. Talk about the weight that these guys and gals carry into the trials, Lonzo. That's why they're so good.
So if you didn't think about that before, I think Rob has made a great point, and now you got to realize you need to watch the trials, because I think in some cases these kids are fighting harder during the trials than, once you make the Olympics, you make it. Not that they're trying less there, but there's just something about the finality of knowing you've worked so hard and you could not make the team.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, there are guys and gals that will be in the pool and on the track and on the court and all that have put years, I'm talking 4, in this case 5 years of their life into one goal. One goal: make the Olympics in Tokyo 2020/2021. And if they are 0.2 of a second slower on the lap in the 100-meter butterfly, they don't go. If they don't run their best 100-meter dash time of all time, they don't go. So I don't know about you, man. I'm trying to think if there is anything in my life, and there's not. I'm trying to think if there's anything in my life where I have put 4 or 5 years of work into accomplishing something and then not accomplish that thing. So I got to tell you, I don't know how I'd handle it, dude. If I put 4 or 5 years into something and failed at it, I don't know how I'd feel about it. Because that's not, I don't think, Lonzo, that's something that if you fail to make the Olympics, I don't think that's something that you can go, well, it's about the journey, not the destination, right? I've failed at many goals in my life. And more often than not, I can have the mindset of, well, you know what? I didn't obtain my goal, but I was able to do this, that, and the other. I accomplished this. I did that. And it's about the journey, not the destination. I don't think I'd feel that way if I put 5 years into one thing and then didn't meet that thing. Like, what is a swimmer who spends 5 years trying to become the best 50-meter, 100-meter butterfly swimmer in the world, or at least in his country? And he puts 5 years into that. And then he gets done with it. And he misses the Olympic team. What does he have to show for it? Nothing. Nothing. Because not only did you not make the Olympics, but you don't even get the distinction of, hey, I made myself one of the best 5 or 6 swimmers in the country. Nope, you didn't. You didn't, because if you did, you'd be in the Olympics. I can't imagine what that must be like, Zoe. It makes those sports, with a football player loses a game, it's all right, they get another chance. You lose the Super Bowl, it's all right. I mean, some of those guys are done. But if you lose a Super Bowl, yeah, man, but you got years of being an NFL player in your back pocket. You got the experience of you were playing on national television. You were making appearances. You were having people follow you around because you're a football player. That's all well and good. I would bet you, Lonzo, if we went to downtown Greenville, Spartanburg right now, and we asked 100 people to name us an Olympic swimmer that's not Katie Ledecky that will be in the Olympics this year, how many people do you think can name one, Lonzo?
I'm going to go with 0.
Yeah, we might get lucky and stumble upon one who's like a high school swim teacher somewhere who loves it. Maybe. But yeah, I'd guess it's under 5. It's under 5. Now, Lonzo, when August 1st rolls around and the closing ceremonies have happened and the Americans have taken home a couple of gold medals in the pool, how many Americans do you think are going to be able to name one swimmer who's not Katie Ledecky at that point?
Hopefully a bunch.
Yeah, because they'll have been on the stage. They will have gotten it. Even if they don't win a medal, for a while they were on they were in the hearts and on the tongues of Americans. They had that. If you miss the Olympic team, you don't got none of it.
Well, and it's especially hard this time around because of COVID and having to change your training regimens and how you were able to do it. And maybe last year was your peak year as far as you curved that last 1/10 of a second off of your time and you're ready to go. And then somehow during COVID, you found that 1/10 of a second back and then you don't make the team. So there's just so many more things going into this year. I can't wait. And Olympic years are always fun in the summer. Although in past we would say, man, what are we going to talk about? But we don't worry about that anymore because COVID. But having the Olympics on the horizon, cannot wait. And I can't wait to watch pole vaulting. As someone who pole vaulted, I always watch pole vaulters and go, how the heck did that guy do that or that girl?
Hashtag facts. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Quick break. Back after this. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
The official healthcare provider for both the Clemson Tigers and the U of SC Gamecocks is Prisma Health, right here in the Upstate. And listen, Tigers, Gamecocks, they don't agree on a whole heck of a lot. I have seen a Tiger and a Gamecock get in a fight with each other because they couldn't decide which pizza joint was better between the two, right? And based it on their college preferences. You know that they disagree on everything. But when it comes to healthcare, the universities themselves both agree that Prisma Health should be the official healthcare provider. Why? Well, because they have got medical professionals, over 2,400 of them located around our area. They have got a billion. Okay, it's exaggerative, but they got a lot of different facilities throughout the area for whatever your medical need might be to make it convenient on you. And if you go to their website at prismahealth.org, they have the My Chart feature. And the My Chart feature is an easy way for you to keep all of your healthcare details organized in one place so that you can keep track of appointments, of test results and scan results, of prescription medications that have been prescribed to you, et cetera, et cetera. It's very simple, and there is nothing that will streamline your healthcare needs and attention between you and your doctor better than Prisma Health. Check out their website at prismahealth.org, prismahealth.org, for all of those details that you need to keep yourself healthy at this point in 2021. Check out their website, prismahealth.org. It's prismahealth.org. It's our friends at Prisma Health right here in the Upstate.
AutomotiveMap.com presents.
I have more respect for Cormier when he told Jake he hasn't earned the right to fight. He's not wrong, man. He's not wrong. Daniel Cormier is one of the biggest names in fighting right now, Hookset. One of the biggest names in fighting, and Jake Paul's, get out of here. Win some boxing matches, bro. Or if you want to fight Daniel Cormier and you such a BA, get on that MMA flow, bro. Get on that MMA flow and call out Daniel Cormier.
The other thing is, who has he earned the right to fight? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But it's still sad that people of a certain generation know who he is and don't know who any of the major boxers that are out there now are.
Well, boxing doesn't do itself any favors, though. Boxing is the worst marketing of any major sport.
They try to bring it back and they try to make it accessible. They put it on, like NBC or Fox. They put it in places where they could bring in an audience, and it just doesn't seem to work anymore.
They just, like I said, they just don't, I don't know. It's just not promoted the way it should. That should be not a promoter, not like a fight promoter, but like a sport promoter. They just don't help themselves. They got 50. First thing they need to do is they need to get rid of the 50. I mean, I know you're going to do it because you got boxing around the world, but you got to get rid of the 50,000 championship belts. You need one. Like, just pick unify the belts. Have one heavyweight champ, one light heavyweight champ, one middleweight champ, one cruiserweight champ, one welterweight. Have just one champion, and then just hype them, man. It's not that tough. It's just that you got so many organizations that there's not one overall unifying body that rules everything.
One minute.
Uno momento. Lonzo, if you're in a baseball game and a foul ball comes your way, you catching it barehanded?
How far up am I?
17 rows. It's not a high pop fly, but it's not a screamer either. It's like,
okay, I was going to say that factors in. If I'm by the wall and it's coming straight at me over the wall and I don't have a glove, I'm probably not.
Every weekday noon to 3. This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Question for Lonzo. I just asked him off the air. Join us on the stream at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. I just asked Lonzo off the air. I'll ask him on, and I'll ask you guys as well. You're at a baseball game. You're, let's say, 17 rows up off the third base side. All right, you're on the hot corner about 17 rows up. And a foul ball's coming right at you. You're by yourself. It's socially distanced, so you don't have to worry about because I've heard the X factor of, I would do it to protect my girlfriend or my kid or whatever. I'm asking that you're by yourself. All right, you're sitting there with a cold brewski or Diet Coke. You got a hot dog, whatever. And a guy hits a foul ball right at you. It's not a screamer. It's not a laser. Thing's not blazing at you. But it's not a loopy pop fly either. I mean, it's got a little weight, got a little heat to it. It's coming right at you. Are you catching this thing barehanded, or are you letting it hit the seat and trying to win it in a scramble? Let's go, Zotis, to spice it up a bit. Let's say you're at your favorite MLB park and it's your favorite MLB player. So you've got a reason to catch the ball. You can hang on to a ball hit by your guy from your team at your MLB park of choice. Are you taking that screamer, Zoe, or are you going to let it sit the heat and try to win it let it hit the seat and try to win it in the squabble afterwards?
First of all, I like my odds in the squabble afterwards because I'm still a rather large individual.
Okay, let's spice it up. 2 rows over from you, there are a group of kids. Let's say they are 6 to 9 years old from a church youth group.
You keep changing the rules here.
I gotta spice it up a little bit. Yeah,
right.
I don't want you to. I'm not gonna give Zoe. Yes, I'm gonna Terrell Davis my way through the huddle in order to win it. No, it is children. If you don't catch it, it lands halfway between you and a group of kids. What do you do?
So no throwing bows and shoulders.
No,
all right.
Bows and shoulders.
Which is a strength of mine. First of all, I am looking at the size of the batter. I'm also factoring in descent and how much velocity will be lost off the ball as it comes towards me. I'm trying to catch it. I am. And there's a way to catch it. It isn't like you put your body in between. You gotta match your hands with the velocity of the ball and bring it back so it's losing some of its power as you bring it in. So there are physics involved with doing it. And with me, you don't have to worry about me being tipsy because I don't drink. So, and yes, all these things I'm being an uber nerd on, but I definitely would think all that as the ball's coming towards me.
I just love the fact that Zoe's like that meme with all the physics going around on the whiteboard in front of him while he's trying to figure out. The reason I brought this up, I was watching a video from I want to say a Nationals game a couple of nights ago.
I know what you're talking about. I saw it.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a guy in the outfield and a home run ball comes right at him and he's got a glove and he misses the catch. It hits him in the glove and bounces, misses the catch. Now, lucky this cat, unlike the vast majority of people who get one shot and blow it. Another home run came at this guy like 2 innings later and he was able to snag that one and hang on to it.
If it's the same guy, though, he had a glove.
Correct.
I mean, if you have that's a totally different story. If I have a glove and a screamer's coming at me, I'm giving it a shot because I have a glove. That's what a glove is for. But barehanded, that changes it. And in this guy's case, if I'm him, I'm falling down. I'm just taking a dive.
I'm hiding under the chairs for the remainder of the game.
Yeah, make it look like you slipped on an errant hot dog or something. Get the sympathy vote there. Come up, maybe you barked your skin a little bit. Come up and and people are like, oh, instead of going, man, you suck. How could you miss that?
So Brian just asked the question in the Facebook chat to the question that I was getting to. Do you bring a glove to the game as an adult? My answer is this, and this is one of the few places where I turn into chauvinist Rob Brown. All right, one of the 2 places. The answer here is if you are an adult woman and you want to catch a baseball, you can bring a glove. If you are an adult man, do not bring a glove to the ballpark. If you can't barehand the rock, it's not your ball. All right? If you catch it with a glove, you must give it to a child. But if you catch it barehanded, then you can keep the baseball. That is the Rob Brown unwritten rules of baseball. All
right. I thought the judge of manliness was on that other show.
I told you there's only 2 spots.
Yeah, he's got a picture to prove it and everything.
2 spots.
I think there should be some addendums, some possible exceptions. And here's one, because I agree with you, but here's the exception. If you are taking your young sons with you and they're bringing their gloves, you bring your gloves. It's a family thing. It's solidarity. It's unity. You all got your gloves there. Hey kid, hey son, look, I got my glove. You got your glove. Let's see if we can catch a fly ball. I mean, I think that's fun. I think that's cool. Now, if you're there by yourself or if you're 20 something and you're there with 3 or 4 of your buddies, no. But if you're there in a family aspect, I think it's okay as an adult to bring a glove.
I accept your addendum. I will allow your addendum if you are with your children who are young, by the way. If you're there with your 16-year-old kid, no. All right. If you're bringing your kids, I'm talking kids, like young kids. If you're bringing your young kids to the game and they're bringing a glove, I am fine with that. I accept that addendum. If your kid is, let's say, 15 or older, no glove. No glove. You don't bring a glove to the ballpark. You just don't do it.
I also want to point out, I have never taken a glove with me to a baseball game. So
because you're a man. So.
Yeah, and I've been to, believe it or not, I've been to quite a few games.
No glove to the ballpark. Sozo is spoken. Yeah, that's the rule. No glove to the ballpark. If it's coming at you and you can't bare hand that bad boy.
Are you okay? Are you okay if you take your hat off and catch it with your hat? Does it have to be barehanded? Are you okay if you have that huge size drink and it's coming towards you and you decide to catch it with the cup?
If you catch it with a beer, I accept it, but there is one rule. You know what the rule is if you catch it with the beer, right?
I guess you have to drink it.
Chug the beer with the baseball still in it.
Okay.
That's the rule. You have to chug the beer with the baseball still in it. That is the rule.
Is that only beer or can it be other liquid?
No, I mean, it's other liquid, but like,
well, I mean,
when you chug a Diet Coke,
Well, says you.
Correct, says I. Says the fly. Yeah. Oh, and one more thing. You ready for my most Ric Flairist baseball take of all time, Lonzo? Here's my Ric Flairist baseball take of all time. If you bring your young child to the baseball park, and after a home run or a foul ball is sent into the fans, and you send your young child up to the individual who caught the ball with their hand out like this, you're a bad parent. And I'm about to send your child back to you very disappointed. All right? If I'm at a ball game and I catch a barehander, all right? If it hits the ground, it goes to a kid. That's my rule. If it hits the ground, it goes to a kid. But if I catch a foul ball or a home run out of the air with my bare hand, and I've been to a billion baseball games, so never caught a foul ball or a home run. Never done it. But if I go to a baseball game and I catch a foul ball or a home run out of the air, and your kid comes over to me with his hand outstretched like this, I'm about to send your child back to you very disappointed.
Are you imparting words of wisdom when you tell him no?
No. I'm just going to go, hey, bud, I'm sorry. I caught this one. I'll be polite about it. But I have seen I can't.
No. Go tell your dad he's a loser. You're not going to say that?
No, dad might catch a bit of a side eye. That's cheating, dog. It's cheating to send your puppy-eyed, doe-eyed little kid over to me with his hand out like, if you give me the baseball, it'll make my childhood. No, it won't, kid. You'll forget you have this baseball in 2 weeks. All right? Now, if it's some shank foul ball and it like bounces 2 rows ahead of me and into me, I'll give it to the kid. All right. But like if I'm at my major league ballpark and my team slams a homer, if I'm at if I'm at Truist and Ronald Acuna Jr. sends one over into the third baseline and I catch it, bro, that's my ball. That's mine. Coming home, it's getting shadow boxed, and when I'm ready to pass it on, I'll pass it down to my family for them to do with what they wish. If you send your doe-eyed kid over to catch a air ball out of the air that I caught with my bare hand, I'm sending your kid back home to you disappointed and empty-handed. That's it. That's the rule. That's my Ric Flair bad guy heel moment in sports right there. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307. Start your text with ESPN. 71307 is the number. Take the break. Back after this. One more segment. And then Twitter trending topics to wrap it up on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say play.
There were a couple videos that I was going to tell you we should look at, but because of the music behind them, one of them, have you seen Mario and Sonic listening to Michael Jackson?
I have not, but I'm going to after the show's over.
Yeah, there's it's the mascots, and there are kids out there, and there is moonwalking. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to tell you which character does the moonwalking.
Oh, it's Sonic doing the moonwalk backwards at super speed, obviously.
Well, I don't know about super speed, but it might possibly be that. The other one is the MODOK trailer just dropped, but seeing as how that's Disney and they got us before, probably not a good idea.
They dropped a MODOK trailer?
Yes. And there's some decent stars in it. And I'm guessing, because I'm not listening to it in here, I don't want to take a chance, that it's probably, I don't know. It is still Disney, so it's not going to be too bad.
MODOK was a great bad guy. Like a great bad guy.
He was. So a little disappointing in the Avengers game because they had a lot of, and I remember you were asking me, should you buy it? And you never did. And that was probably a good move. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it's just like it there was supposed to be a bunch of DLC and it never happened. Yeah. Still hasn't. And how can you have the Oscars when, movies didn't really happen? I guess it's because the movies that would be nominated for an Oscar, no one goes to see anyway. So you should just go ahead and, I guess.
Hey, I realized something, Zoe. Over the weekend, on Sunday, as a matter of fact, I absolutely did sit down to watch the Snyder Cut. And then realized I don't have HBO Max, so it didn't matter. So now I got to find somebody who's going to let me use it because I don't need HBO Max outside of Snyder Cut.
Well, you absolutely do for Titans. I mean, and a ton of other things. But I mean, all the DC stuff went there, including Batman, Superman, all that stuff.
Batman versus Superman was a bad movie.
No, I'm not. I'm not talking about just that. I'm talking about all the animated stuff, the classics, all that kind of stuff.
How much is HBO Max? Like $8 a month, $9 a month?
I don't remember, but it's somewhere around there.
I'm gonna have to cut. So I mean, I got Peacock, I got Netflix, I got Hulu. I need to get rid of Hulu because I don't really watch it that much. Peacock, Netflix, Hulu.
Well, I will bring something up in Twitter trending topics that may make you keep Hulu, or it may hasten your departure from the company. We'll see. I have all those. Plus, I have ESPN Plus, and but I got several things bundled. So
ups and downs, the ins and outs, real unfiltered sports talk. It's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob Alonzo and you join us, won't you? 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Breaking news from Adam Schefter. We told you a couple weeks back that the Philadelphia Eagles had brought a proposition to the table for the competition committee that would completely get rid of onside kicks. Onside kicks were wildly unsuccessful in the league the last year with the rule that the players on the kicking team must be split evenly on both sides of the football, so you can't load one side as a concussion protocol. The Eagles brought up a proposition, I guess, in which they said that a team that wished to kick an onside kick would instead take a 4th and 15 from where the kickoff would take place. If they converted the 4th and 15, they would retain the ball first down wherever it was. If they did not convert the 4th and 15, the ball would turn over on downs, and the other team would take over wherever the play ended. Philly still supports the proposal, but believes the competition committee proposal aiding onside kicking teams deserves a trial year. The alternative could be proposed again in the future based on feedback. So I would not be surprised to see this tried out perhaps in the preseason at some point. but it would not take place this year. It has been tabled by that competition committee. A couple of reasons. One of the bit of feedback they got were questions about how a defensive pass interference call would play in. If you get a 15-yard defensive pass interference call, is that an automatic first down? If you get a 10 or 11-yard run plus a 5-yard defensive holding call, that would give a first down. If an offensive lineman jumped or was caught holding, would it then just kill the play? Obviously in regular play that would move the ball back. Would it be then 4th and 25 from the 20-yard line? And then if so, would the offense get it, or would the kicking team get an opportunity to reverse their decision and decide to kick? So there was a lot of kickback about that proposal from the competition committee that the NFL is going to take more looks at. Again, the belief is that they will indeed at some point in the very near future, they would take a look back at bringing that in once those questions are answered. But look, the onside kick thing with the 5 guys on each side of the line of scrimmage. I mean, look, either come up with a new system or move it back to where you can overload, because we got an offside kicks, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say it was like 17% of onside kicks were successful. I mean, it's almost 2 in 10, which is not a terrible number. But either move it back to where you can load up one side of the box, or just say there's no more onside kicks in football. But the way they have it set up right now, it just doesn't work for me.
I don't have that much of a problem with the way it is now, because we saw some very inventive ways of kickers trying to make it work. And just like any system, when it's designed to make things less, someone will find a way to overcome that system. And I think kickers were starting to do that. They were coming up with different ways, that like the spinning ball and some things like that. And I thought that was really cool. I did. And how often are there actually onside kicks in an entire season? I don't think it happens that much.
I actually looked it up in the NFL season this year as to how many onside kicks there were. And there really weren't nearly as many this year as there have been in the past. This past season, there were, I want to say, only like 20 total onside kicks when you added them all up. It really wasn't a ton of them. And there were, there were 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there were like 3 recovered during the course of the regular season. I mean, it was a pretty low number top to bottom.
Well, this would require a lot of research, but I'd be interested to see, how much they've really gone down and how many are attempted season after season. And, I just don't think there's that much of an attempt. And I think this rule, it doesn't matter because of that. If this was something that happened once a game or once a week even, I think it would be different. But I like the idea that these kickers are trying to come up with ways and are actually entertaining.
844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back here in just a minute, wrap it up. We'll talk about what you're talking about with Twitter trending topics. That's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your phone everywhere on the radio.com app. Download the app and make ESPN Upstate a favorite for 24/7 real, unfiltered sports talk.
The NFL also relaxed the numbers rules, so now we will start to see a lot more position players wearing single-digit numbers. Be interesting to see how many will be willing to switch.
From the 106.3 WORD Weather Center, here's the Upstate's most trusted forecast on ESPN Upstate. Mostly sunny skies here this afternoon. We'll see high around 67. Tonight, mostly clear and a low 36. Thursday, sunny high of 66, and Friday, partial sunshine high of 67. Saturday, chance for rain and sunny by Sunday. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 71.
The Upstate loves grassroots racing. If you do, catch PRNs at the track on ESPN Upstate Saturday mornings at 7:30.
Start your engine.
You'll hear from the drivers and personalities at tracks like Anderson, Cherokee, Greenville, Pickens, Lawrence County, Travelers Rest, plus kart tracks like Possum Kingdom, Sugarton, Outback, Warrior Creek, and Foothills. Outside. That's PRNs at the track, 7:30 Saturday mornings right here on ESPN Upstate.
So how is MLB the show?
The ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick. The type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera. And the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Will the King take home the crown, or can the East make another stand? Come into Twin Peaks to catch all the games that will impact the push for the playoffs.
Owning your own land is something you've always dreamed about, and now it comes true. Huff Creek Properties is the land division of NAI Earl Furman. Tripp, Dallas, and Ellis are your land experts in the Upstate. If you're looking to buy or sell land, contact them at 610-LAND. Want to build your dream home?
Whether you want to make like every decision, whether you wanted a GM, whatever, and I took full control, and it can get pretty deep. It's interesting in that, like, when you play the create a character, you create loadouts, so you can like pick what mentality your player comes into the game with, whether it's a pitcher's mentality, fielder's mentality, hitter's mentality, pick your perk, stuff like that. So it's almost it's in a weird way, it's almost as in depth as some of the first person shooters I've played. But I enjoyed it. It's one of the better baseball games that I've played, but I also haven't bought one in the last 5 or 6 years. So.
Yeah, I don't think I've played a baseball game since like Atari 2600 or ColecoVision or something like that. It's been a really, really long time. I saw you were on there playing, and I thought, you know what, I could download this real quick. And then Rob would spank me at this game.
No, it's like I said, his first baseball game I've played in a while. I enjoy the pitching. So I went back and I made a second character. It's just a pitch, just a starting pitcher. And I do like it because it's as realistic as it gets. Like you pick your pitches, you develop your pitches as you go. So you go through bullpen training sessions and stuff. And then when you're in the game, like you can work with your catcher will give you signals and locations and all that, but you can ignore them if you want to, if you know a guy's tendencies, whatever. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I had a good time. And the cool thing, this I really found cool, when you create a character, you start in the minor leagues and you got to work your way up to the majors. When you get to try to pick the team that your player starts with, and I picked the Braves. I'm a Braves fan. Well, they put me in the minor leagues for the Mississippi Braves, and the first team that I came up against, Lonzo, the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, and The jerseys are spot on. And it looked like at one point I sent a picture of the screen of the guys in the Blue Wahoos jerseys to my brother. And he wrote me back and he's like, are you watching an old Wahoos game? Because it looked legit. It was really cool.
That's awesome. Can you use your creative player when you play somebody else, though, I wonder?
I believe that you can play non-competitive matches, like non-ranked matches, which I don't play the ranked matches because I suck. There's no point in me jumping into ranked competitions in any games. But yeah, I think you can import them to a roster for non-competitive online play. But I also, as of last night, was the only person playing the game, so I don't know. I haven't tried it yet.
I'm not going to commit, but you never know.
It's on Game Pass. It's free for you.
Yeah, I know, but there's also time involved. So,
Twitter trending topics.
If Lonzo's talking right now, I can't hear him, which makes this segment more challenging.
Well, I was just doing the intro part. I would have noticed eventually when I ask a question and you didn't hear it. I would say, well, I got so many buttons to push, but it's my job. I apologize for not pushing that button. Maybe if you were in a studio, I wouldn't have to do that. That's not your fault, and that's a complaint that will fall on deaf ears, and I don't care. I made it anyway. All right, so the first thing trending, because you embarrassed me, so I thought I'd lash out at management. That's what most people do, right? Yeah. All right, the first thing trending is Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey's trending because Ronda Rousey is pregnant with her first child. It was announced earlier today. 44 years of age, 4 months pregnant. The rowdy one has announced that she is pregnant, so you can go ahead and scrap her. I don't think she was ever coming back. I think she was really excited about WWE. I think she got there. It wasn't what she wanted it to be, and so she's done. Either way, congratulations to Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, she said the entire time, if you watched any of the behind-the-scenes things, that she wanted to start a family, and good on her for being able to accomplish what she was setting out to do. And the next thing trending is How I Met Your Father.
Are we getting a spinoff? Look, I'm assuming we're getting a spinoff. I haven't checked yet. Here's what I'm going to say. I need to know how they're going to format the show. How I Met Your Mother was one of my favorite shows of all time until it wasn't. All right. It was one of my favorite shows until about season 6. And then they clearly just ran out of ideas. So I think we've hit a point in television where producers and showrunners, if a show is successful, they will push it past its resources to the point that they run out of stories, they run out of ideas, and they start getting ridiculous. And then on top of it, and I could have even forgiven that. If Ted and Tracy from How I Met Your Mother, the original series, would have had that happy relationship we wanted. Instead, the creators of the show decided from the very beginning that damn what the fans want. Ted and Robin are going to be together. They forced them together. They ended up back in the most awkward way possible with the kids going, hey, Dad, Mom's dead. Why don't you go back to that lady that you never stopped loving while you were married with our mom? It really turned me off the way the show ended. So I don't know. If it's a different group of people, maybe I'll give a How I Met Your Father spinoff a shot.
All right. So it's going to be on Hulu, which, we were having a discussion on the stream about, too many streaming services and if we had to get rid of one, and you were considering Hulu. So I don't know if this will make you keep Hulu. And it's going to star Hilary Duff.
I don't have anything against Hilary Duff. I couldn't name more than like one or two things she was in that were not on the Disney Channel. I don't have any issue with Hilary Duff as an actress one way or the other. Now, are they going to be, is it in the same universe? Like, is it going to be connected to the original show?
From what I can tell, yes.
All right. So like, if you're going to have Marshall and Lily, by the way, you know what the problem with How I Met Your Mother was? Everybody on that show, with the exception of Marshall, was a terrible human being. Like, Lily was a terrible person. I will never, ever, ever, ever forget when Lily just left Marshall. Like, she just ghosted him, like left the engagement ring on the table, went to San Francisco, stopped calling, stopped talking to him. And then she shows back up and is like, oh, I'm sorry. Can you forgive me? No. And then Ted.
There must have been a Buffy the Vampire Slayer reunion or something that she had to go to.
So the old Allison Hannigan, man, smoke show. And then when she has the audacity, at one point, Ted is consoling Marshall on a voicemail, and calls her the B word. And she's like, I can't believe you called me that, Ted. Like, I can. Are you kidding me? You left his engagement ring on the kitchen counter and then stopped talking to your fiance of years? Yeah, that's a B move. Anyway, I'll give it a shot if it doesn't suck.
All right, I got to pick. We got time for one more, and Prince is trending.
Prince is trending. I believe, is it Prince's birthday? I'm guessing, Lonzo. It's either his birthday or his death day.
5 years ago, we lost him.
Okay, Prince passed away. If you haven't watched, you want to celebrate it. If you haven't watched it, Zoe, you and I have talked about it. There's a video of him on stage playing guitar with George Harrison, with Tom Petty was up there. I think Steve Winwood was on stage as well.
And the lead singer from ELO.
Yes. So he's on stage playing guitar to, what is it? Why My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Yes.
And you can look, and all these other musicians just basically stopped to watch Prince because he was the definition of everything. And it was the best. Now I'm going to go listen to Purple Rain for about 3 hours. That's it for the show. Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel is up next. Thanks so much for listening, hanging out, texting, tweeting, chatting, calling, whatever you did. We appreciate it. We'll try harder tomorrow. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. Have a great rest of your day. Ladies and gentlemen, for Lonzo, I'm Rob. This was the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.